Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on into the Friday, January 13th edition of the PWTorch Fireside Chat. I'm PWTorch Assistant Editor Zack Heydorn, thrilled to be here with you guys today. And we're here to talk SmackDown and what should be a pretty big SmackDown episode. I'm recording from a different location. I'm on location at a different place, so I've got the camera set up strange. But whatever, we're here, we're doing live video, and we're having a conversation with you guys, and I'm glad that you guys are here with me. So for everybody who's listening live right now, Milano, and everybody else, thank you so much for being here. It's Friday, and I know that you've got things to do, so I'm glad that you've chosen a few minutes to spend here with me on the PWTorch YouTube channel talking SmackDown. If you missed last week's episode, or not last week, yesterday's live episode of the PWTorch Fireside Chat, the flagship edition of the show, do so. Check that out on the PWTorch YouTube channel right now. Tyler Sage and myself talked about a bunch of different topics. We talked about Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Paul Levesque, the whole drama with WWE. We also did a pretty interesting and fun breakdown of AEW Dynamite. So we had a little AEW talk this week. We won't be talking too much AEW today because we've got SmackDown. And tonight's episode of SmackDown is, I don't know, it's an interesting episode, I think, in a lot of ways. There's not a ton of matches or segments booked and promoted. It's really two right now that we can give kind of like a preview for. And that's Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, and that's Braun Strowman versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. That's it. A lot of other like what ifs around the show, which we'll get into some of that too. But only two matches. So if you have questions about SmackDown or really anything, drop them in the chat. Happy to get to your guys' questions today. And then, we'll preview SmackDown here. And Dr. Ross, hello. Lily, hello. Thank you guys for joining us live. It is a pleasure to have you here previewing a little SmackDown. So let's start with what I believe is going to be the main event of this show. And Lily, you hit the nail on the head. I couldn't put it better myself. It's going to be interesting tonight to see what happens with Zayn and Owens. And that is super true. Like, there's a lot going on with this match, and there's a lot hovering around it. I mean, you've got the Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns match first and foremost. I think at this point, like that's key because you've got Owens, you've got Reigns. They're going to collide at the Royal Rumble for the undisputed Universal Championship on the line, right? That's big. So when you examine this match from that angle, I think you say to yourself, well, Kevin Owens has to win. Kevin Owens has to win here in order to kind of continue his momentum and continue to be a viable threat to Roman Reigns. So he needs the win. If you're Sami Zayn, like, I think, you're in this position where you've now lost a match already, for the bloodline, quote unquote. You were the one who took the pin in the tag match with John Cena, right? And so you have that against you. And so it kind of, I think the outcome of this match, where I'm going to with this is, I think the outcome of this match tonight is going to give us an indication of where this Sami Zayn bloodline feud is going in the immediate future, right? If Sami Zayn wins this match, I think you can reasonably say to yourself, okay, Roman Reigns and Zayn are back on the same page, and okay, maybe that story is going to continue for a little while longer, right? If he loses, that's another like major moment for the Bloodline Sami Zayn program and what it potentially means down the road. Like, he's lost again. I mean, is Roman Reigns really going to stand for that, I guess, for lack of a better word? I don't think so. That's not it's not the Roman Reigns character to stand for that two big losses in a row. So I think if that happens, you might start to hear the rumblings, if you will, that the Zayn turn or the Reigns turn on Zayn may happen sooner than later. Because I mean, you know, if you're Roman Reigns and you're the tribal chief, you can't just like sit by and kind of let that happen, right? Like it's gotta be a swift decision and a swift movement on a decision. So depending on however this match goes, I think it's going to be very telling. I'm looking forward to the match itself. I know you know, Milano in the chat talking about how much you're looking forward to this match. I am too. I think this match is going to be a really good match. I mean, because they only have 2 matches promoted for tonight, at least at this point, I'll go ahead and I'll check their website here in a minute. But for right now, it's just the 2 matches. So you know that it's going to get some time, especially if it's in that main event slot. Like I think we're looking at a match that could start like right at, you know, 9:30 Eastern time and go for the end of the show. I mean, that's 3-4 segments there. So I hope that they get a lot of time to tell their story. Yeah, this would be interesting, you know, and I think there's an argument that Kevin Owens really needs to win this match. He has a Universal Championship match against Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, and I think you want to keep feeding the momentum there. I mean, the idea at this point is you want to try to create a scenario in which fans can convince themselves that Kevin Owens can actually beat Reigns and win the title. I think throughout Roman Reigns' title reign, you've had a lot of moments where you could kind of see Reigns getting beat, but probably not, you know. But they did enough, I think, in a handful of matches a handful of matches to like really convince you that, okay, hey, maybe Jey Uso can beat him, or maybe Kevin Owens the first time can beat him. Maybe Drew McIntyre can pull it off. Even Matt Riddle, it was like, maybe he can get there. And that's what you want to do here. I don't think that Kevin Owens is winning the Universal Championship or the Undisputed Universal title at the Royal Rumble, but you want that seed of doubt. So in order to really create that, Owens needs to go on a winning streak here. So I'm with Milano. You know, he's got to win. Oh, wrong message. Here I go. No way KO loses this match. And I think you're right. I think somehow this match is won by Kevin Owens, and it does, in the end, expedite the process of Roman turning on Sami. I think that's where we're at, or at least there's another clear chapter tonight of, you know, Sami and the bloodline not being on the same page, and this being a clear step towards that turn. Whether it leads to it directly or not, that kind of remains to be seen. But I think you're going to get a situation where there's a significant development within that story, and that's big. I mean, you don't always get that kind of storyline movement on SmackDown, especially with the bloodline, especially with Roman Reigns not being on the show tonight. So I think it'll be a big night at the office for WWE for that reason. Yeah, Dr. Ross chiming in here with a really good point. Solo interference goes wrong, and he accidentally gives Sami the spike, setting up KO for the win. Could easily be, and I think some like kind of shenanigans type victory for Owens could work there. The thing is, if like, I guess where I would not challenge that, but like kind of question the thought process, if that is the finish, is then you've got a situation where Solo Sikoa is not lined up with Roman Reigns and the rest of the bloodline. And so he's kind of on an island like Sami Zayn is. And so that, do you want to go there with him yet on that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure that it's the time. I mean, Solo is kind of doing well in his lane of like enforcer of the bloodline. Do you want to put him in a position where he now has to be not against, but like openly in confrontation with Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, and now you've got two people in that spot, Zayn and him. So I don't know. We'll see. It's an interesting idea, though. It's certainly an interesting idea, and I think it's one that can protect Sami Zayn in that regard and still give Kevin Owens his win. So that's an interesting call. Interesting call, Dr. Ross. Lily, jumping in. It's really what the story is going to be post-match. Kevin Owens will win, but the story post-match is going to be interesting. Bingo. I think it's key, and I think it's Sami Zayn related, to be honest. I think it's going to be Sami Zayn related, this story, especially if Kevin Owens wins, because again, it's another loss. It's another loss. This could happen too. Azan, great call. Thanks for joining us. This right here, Azan, and this right here, folks, is why I think that it was a bad call to have Judgment Day win the number one contenderships for the titles opposite the Bloodline. And I wrote this in my Raw receipt column on PWTorch.com. You can't have a heel Judgment Day team go up against a heel Bloodline team at this moment. And really, you shouldn't ever, but at this moment in particular, you've got big business on the table for the Bloodline as heels. I know that they've been seen kind of as the cool heel group at times throughout the last year. There have just been moments, but now you've got, no matter which way you go, whether you go with The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, or whether you go with Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, or whether you go with Cody versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. In each of those scenarios, the Bloodline has to be like stone cold heels. I don't mean Stone Cold Steve Austin heels. I mean just like cold, calculated heels, definitive heels in matches like that and in programs like that for Reigns at WrestleMania. So to give them an opportunity here to be baby faces opposite a Judgment Day team, which will for sure be getting booed because of Dominic and his shenanigans, it just doesn't jive well with what's on the table for what's on the table for the Bloodline moving forward. It's a really bad call. And so tonight, if the Judgment Day gets involved, and costs Sami Zayn the match against Kevin Owens, I mean, man, there is inconsistencies flying all around, right? Ultimately Kevin Owens is the one who gets hurt in a situation like that because he's not positioned in a strong way with a unified audience response. And so that, I think that'd be a mistake. I could easily see it going that direction, but I think that would be a very, very, very big mistake. I gotta ask, let's see, Zach, you're saying Vince is back in creative. It's just horrible news. I have not heard that, but I need a source on that. Otherwise, I'm going to kind of just toss out right now that we don't have anything corroborating that sentence yet. So if there is a source out there, send it my way. I'd love to see that and vet that out. So let me know. Okay, that's one match. Okay, and I see your response here, Zach. That doesn't mean he's in charge of creative or back in creative. I'm sure they do discuss creative, but that doesn't mean he's making the final. That doesn't mean he's making the final decisions. Is what I will say. Doesn't mean he's not, but it doesn't mean he is either. So the other match, we'll get to the other match in a minute. There's other developments tonight that I think we're going to see take place, or we're going to have to see take place in order to move things forward towards the Royal Rumble. And one of those is Bray Wyatt. What is the next chapter of the Bray Wyatt story with LA Knight? They've got the pitch black match. We don't really know for sure what that's going to be. It's not promoted for tonight, but I think tonight we will get concrete development in that story. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Obviously we only have three weeks left until the Royal Rumble. So you got to put some juice behind that match. And I think, right now it's the story is still very much just about Bray Wyatt and just about the fact that Bray Wyatt, is wrestling the match. And I think you want to continue to build some sort of real story between, between Bray Wyatt and LA Knight directly, and don't have LA Knight serve as this role of he's the guy that's in the match, but really it's Uncle Howdy. I think you want to build something with LA Knight tonight. Uncle Howdy's going to win the Royal Rumble. Boy, I would not put my money there, Milano, but weirder things have happened for sure. Want to get to the to some comments here in the chat that I have to say that I agree with. Dominic, probably top 3 characters in wrestling right now behind Roman and Sami. I think I might say WWE, because I think there's some other good characters, but Dominic is holding his own. This is not really a SmackDown topic, but it's worth noting. He's holding his own out there, and he's finding a spot for himself on television, and in a way that is entertaining. And he's holding down segments, and he's holding down multiple segments in his show, and it's working. So I agree with you guys. I agree with you on that, Stephen. I think that's a good comment. Okay, Milano, joking. Whew. I thought I was going to really have to go and try to back down an opinion on Uncle Howdy winning the damn Royal Rumble. Luckily, I don't have to do that. Thank you, Milano. Good stuff. Also tonight, so in addition to getting concrete LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt stuff, I think we want to see and hear more from Charlotte Flair, right? I mean, is everybody okay with where Charlotte Flair is at this point? I mean, drop your notes in the chat. I liked her return. I thought her return to WWE and to return to SmackDown as a babyface was well done. It was smartly done. It was planned out, and seemed to, clearly bring her back and to establish her as a babyface. You put the belt on her. You took it off Ronda. So you got to wonder what's next between those two. I have to imagine that we're going to get some kind of. I mean, it's not. It's not just a rematch at this point in time because they've wrestled so many times, but it's a rematch in this scenario where Ronda's going to want a shot at the title that she lost. And my guess is that's going to come at the Royal Rumble, but you don't want too much time between when she won that title, when Charlotte won the title, and when Ronda is confronting her again. So my guess is we're going to get something like that tonight too. Hence a lack of promotion for other segments on the show, and the fact that we need to get an opponent on the books for Charlotte Flair at the Royal Rumble. And I think at this point, yes, they've wrestled a lot, but it doesn't it doesn't. This is a new chapter, and I think mainly because you've got Charlotte as a babyface right now, and you've got Ronda as a clear heel. That's a little bit fresh, and so I want to see development there. And I think tonight we are absolutely going to see we are going to see her that story take shape as to what the Royal is going to be. Zach, I mean, I disagree with this. I mean, character not be damned. I mean, first of all, he can wrestle well enough, I think, and there's room for him to grow, of course. But character not be damned. I mean, that's important. That's a major part of professional wrestling. Even for wrestlers who are great in the ring, and Dom isn't, it's still a big part of wrestling. You can't discount character and the importance that it plays in not just a good wrestling show, but a really good wrestling match as well. I don't buy this right now, Zach. I mean, again, this is opinion, right? This is your opinion. There's been changes in the way Triple H has gone about presenting creative. So I don't know how you can say that he's writing for Vince when he's changed a lot of things that Vince liked, namely talking about wrestling on TV. He's given people's last names back. He's presented characters in an entirely different light, like Austin Theory, for example, is a big one. So I don't know. I think we have to see it play out first, but there's no way to corroborate that opinion one way or the other at this point. So again, opinion, and that's yours, and that's your own, Zach, and that, more power to you for sure. But I think it's more complicated than that for sure. Okay, and then last but not least tonight, we've got a very interesting Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther versus Braun Strowman. And Zach, I think if you want to know whether or not Paul Levesque is booking for Vince McMahon or not at the moment right now, you will know by the time this match ends. Because I think this is a classic case of, man, if Vince McMahon has the book, right? If he has the book, then you're saying to yourself, well, this is Strowman's, Strowman's going to lose here. This is Strowman's time. This is Strowman's time to lose Strowman's going to win here. This is his time to take the title, and he's the guy that could raise the stock of the title and hold it and have it be a singles championship for men on a show that's defended most often, without Roman Reigns on. And like the Braun Strowman character is very much like a Vince McMahon character, right? Big guy, it fits perfectly. Gunther, not so much, especially now that he's kind of slimmed down and really got into shape. He looks more like some of the other wrestlers that are out there, and not the big Walter character that he was on the indie scene and in NXT UK. It's just a little bit of a different presentation. Still, though, I just have the feeling that Vince McMahon is partial to Braun Strowman. So we will see. Zach will be able to tell tonight just how far and how much Vince McMahon is in quote unquote control of WWE creative, even if it's indirectly through Triple H, which I don't think it is. I think Triple H is doing his own thing as of right now. Now, just like anything else in WWE, that can change in seconds. there could be a thing going up right now about how how Paul Levesque is now ousted and Vince McMahon is back. Obviously that could happen. But as of right now, I think this is still Triple H's show from a creative standpoint. Let's see. Let's go look at some more. I forgot about this match. Yep. Well, my guess is that this might be the main event. Like if they want to just get the highest viewership possible for Zayn and Owens, maybe you do that early in the show. Maybe you open with that match and have this run in the main event. But I think it'll probably go opposite. I think this will open the show, and then they'll do the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens match in the main event. So that's my prediction. All right, guys. Well, there we have it. We'll put a bow on it right there. Decent little SmackDown preview. I wish there was more to get into. I really do. I wish there was more to kind of break down and analyze, but I will be on the Wade Keller Pro Wrestling Post Show tonight doing that with Alex McDonald, my co-host, right after SmackDown airs. So we will be on there. So join us there. We'll send out a link on the PWTorch Twitter account where you can tune in and listen live and ask questions and contribute. Call in. You can talk to me, talk to the show. And yes, we'll have fun breaking down all things SmackDown a little bit later tonight. But for Steven and Hazan and Milano and Zach and who else? Dr. Ross and countless others. Thank you for joining the show. Very much appreciated. We will be live next week, Monday for sure, but hopefully sometime over the weekend as well. So check us out. Hit the little notification button if you haven't done so already. Give me a follow on Twitter. It's at @ZHeydornTorch, at @ZHeydornTorch. And then, obviously keep it locked to PWTorch.com for all your wrestling needs. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate the participation in the chat. It was fun. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. See ya.